Cars are on their way to the grid for the second race of the day for the Shell Oils Pre-83 touring cars and the Jaguar Enthusiast Club Saloon and GT Championship. That's coming up in a moment. We've got a further interview ahead of this race.
Alright, so I've got a ragtag bunch of Jaguar drivers in front of me here in Parc Ferme. First of all, let's introduce ourselves. How are we doing on this wonderful Saturday?
Wonderful. So Lawrence Kopok, Jaguar XJS, 6 litre V12, racing against my son, who's generally quicker. We've had a good morning. Good morning practice and a good race now.
So how did race one go for you?
I'm glad there was a second start because I had a very poor first start. I left most of the rubber on the tarmac as I set off, but when they came into the red flag, I thought I'll have a chance for the second start, which was only slightly better. But no, it was a good, clean race.
Are you looking forward to race two?
Yes, very much so, and I'm sure my son is as well.
Absolutely. Well, that leads us nicely on. Introduce yourself, my good man.
Charles Kopok. I'm racing number 27 Jaguar XGS, the smaller 4 litre than my dad. Yeah, had a great race. Unfortunately, lost. Only just though, but yeah, struggled a little bit at the start. Just didn't have the confidence in the car, but as the race went on, got a bit more confidence. I think stuff was being spilt a little bit, so it was quite sideways in a few moments.
And what does it mean to you being able to race your old man at something like this? Because that must feel pretty special, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant, especially when we have a close race like today. There's just it's so much fun.
How competitive does it get, really?
Fairly, but not too aggressive.
That's
we
what
don't, we don't trade paint. We try and keep it clean.
Sticking to the classic touring cars, Matt. Sure, I love to hear it. As we move along the line, who have we got here?
Hi, my name's Derek Pearce. I'm in the XK8. Had a really good race, 2 good starts, and I was after getting past this gentleman here, and he was doing everything right to stop me. But that was 2 really good starts and an enjoyable race.
And how nice is it to be back in the sunshine at Silverstone for the first race of the week of the year? It's been such a long wait to come around. How nice is it to be back?
To be honest, in our series, it's a long time since we've had sunshine anywhere. But yes, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's really good.
It's lovely to watch you race. And as we move further along the line, third in race one, I believe.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm Tom Lenthal and I race Jaguar XJS. Again, I had 2 really good starts. Tried to stay with the 2 front runners, had a little bit of battle in the first couple of laps, but they're just too quick down the straights and they just pulled away, and so I just went into steady mode and thought, well, I'll bring it home, and a podium's a podium, isn't it?
What's so special about racing these Jags? Everyone who races them seems to absolutely adore them.
Oh God, I don't know, it's so different to any other type of racing. It's so easy to get in a little single seat or something really light, and these cars are so big and heavy.
Cars already on the grid and underway for our second Pre-83 touring car and Jaguar race of the day. Tom Robinson and James Ram from the front row, and another poor start by Tom Robinson. I think another Jag hasn't got going. Let's not have a repeat of what happened in the first race with the number 50 car Matthew Davis. We are underway for 15 minutes of racing. James Ram leads away in car number 1. Looks like it's one of the Kopok family up into second place. A lot of smoke there from Simon Lewis and the 65 car. Pick up the touring cars in a moment. David Howard, I can tell you, has got away well in them. Side by side for second, Tom Lenthal up the inside past Lawrence Kopok in the 97. Good to see Michael Holtz made it back out after engine problems in race 1 as well. Michael Seaborn in the 24 car loses out to Tom Robinson. That XJR so quick in a straight line, he can make up the lost ground from his poor start. A bit like the Ford Galaxies in British saloon cars used to do in the 60s. They couldn't do standing starts because they were geared as NASCARs, but just passed everything in a straight line later on. 92 there, that's Michael Atkinson, newcomer this year. Ram leads it, Robinson's already back up into second place. Lawrence Kopok is third, then it's Lenthal, Seaborn in the big XJ40, then we've got Michael Holt, Rick Walker and Charles Kopok. Meantime, the touring cars are further back. We'll pick them up on the live timing as they come through. Jaguar's fighting it out at the front of the field. Looking down the order, the leader at the end of lap 1 in the touring cars was another Jaguar, David Howard. Poor start for Simon Jeffs. He's down to 4th behind Mark Lucock and Mike Luck. Lucock in the Escort, Mike Luck in the BMW. Jaguars make their way through the complex. Simon Lewis still going. Smoke seems to have cleared slightly from his car. It doesn't seem to be slowing him down. So it's Ram from Robinson, then Coppock, Lenthal, Seaborn, Holt, Rick Walker battling with Charles Coppock, the two XJSs together. Made famous by Tom Walkinshaw, the great Jaguar preparer, of course, the big XJSs in the likes of European touring cars in the 80s. Some of the Motul liveried ones as well, similar to James Ram's car. There is Ram being caught now by Robinson. Well, it's Coppock going well, the Oxfordshire-based driver. They're in 3rd place. Beautiful roar of these Jaguars as they thunder their way around the Silverstone circuit. Another big cat still leading the pre-83 touring car split further back. David Howard, the Berkshire driver, in the XJ12 it is who leads the way. He's got ahead of some of the Jaguar Championship cars at the back as well. So there's a Jaguar Interloper as Tom Lenthal sends it up the inside past Lawrence Coppock. That's for 3rd place in the outright classification. And Tom Robinson alongside James Ram, and he takes the lead down the Hanger Straight. That XJR just so quick in a straight line. Even the reigning champion James Ram can't hold it back. He's run wide on the exit though there. Doesn't want to be clocked for exceeding track limits. Down towards the Vale. Swing it in. Tom Robinson holds the advantage over the man from Dunmow in Essex, the owner of Comsec Investigations, James Ram. Already got back markers ahead of them there from the touring car field. 11 minutes of this race to go. So we look further back in the order there are the pre-83 touring car leaders. David Howard has got past Derek Pearce in there, we notice. Ram going a little bit wide through there. That's Village that time as they head up to the Lincoln and onto Beckett's. Tom Lenthal still going well in 3rd ahead of Coppock, Seaborn and Holtz. Here's the pre-83 touring cars. Pick them up as they come towards Beckett's this time. Pick up who's leading there. There's David Howard. Derek Pearce behind him in the 58, so he's got ahead of another of the Jaguar competitors. There's the battle between Mark Lucock, Simon Jeffs, Mike Luck down to 4th, then Stephen Primmett. There's Mark Osborne holding off Burgess and Cholerton. So good fighting all the way down the order. This is for 2nd place in the pre-83 touring cars. This is for Class C. It's David Howard, number 55, leads Class A. This is the fight for 2nd overall and the lead of Class C in the pre-83 touring cars. Down towards the left-hander at Vale, Simon Jeffs has a look up the inside in the Golf. David Howard with his headlights on, he wants to beat the Jaguar Championship competitors, I think, saying that my XJ12 was just as competitive. The Berkshire Pallets owner. Mark Lucock still 2nd in the light blue Mark 1 Escorts. And the Mark 1 Golf of Simon Jeffs. And up the inside, there's contact there. Derek Pearce missed his braking point there and he clips Simon Lewis. The XJ8, the XK8 rather, bouncing off the Series 1 XJ6. Now the pre-83s are with him. Here comes Mark Lucock in the Mark 1 Escort. Still out in front is Tom Robinson ahead of James Ram. Nearly 2 seconds between those two. Now it's Tom Lenthal 3rd, and whoa, Simon Lewis nearly assaults Simon Jeffs. I think Lewis might be losing his brakes. Goodness me. There's the classic Hillman Avenger, or Chrysler Avenger, Chrysler dealer team. 61 Phil Waller. Here are the overall leaders. That's Tom Robinson ahead of James Ram still, and the gap is opening up. It was just under 2 seconds that time through. lapped the Metro there of Ray Kirschberg, the computer vision car. There is our overall leader, Tom Robinson, going for the double. Can Simon Jeffs claw back in his Golf? He got taken wide by an errant XJ6 earlier on. Looking at the timings as they come through, David Howard still has the lead of the pre-83s. He's got a cushion of 3 Jags between himself and Mark Lucock, when Jeff's third, Luck fourth and Primet's fifth. That's the pre-83 classification further back in the order. Over 7 minutes of this race to go. James Ram pushing on. He's lost 0.3 of a second on that last lap to Tom Robinson in the number 4. There's the battle in pre-83. This is for second place in their outright classification. David Howard's pulled away in his Jag. Mark Lucock just holding on ahead of Simon Jeffs in the Golf. Here's a battle further back. Mark Osborne side by side with Tom Burgess in the Data Post Mark 1 Fiesta. The Richard Longman lookalike, very successful touring car racer of years gone by, former British champion in a Mini, raced the Fiesta as well. Mark Cholerton goes through in the 81 Escorts. Michael Seaborn defending there. That's one of the Coppocks behind him. That's Charles Coppock Jr. in number 27. Coppock Sr. up in 4th. XJS goes for the outside. They are in different classes, those two. 24 is Class B, 27 in Class C. Seaborn leading Class B. The Jags Robinson leads Class D for the full race modified cars. Tom Lenthal in 3rd overall is leading Class C. Seaborn leads Class B, although sliding about there. I think he might be losing some oil. Yes, he goes very wide there, sliding. I think he's sliding on his own oil. I could see a little bit of smoke from the front of that car there. But he is sponsored by Castrol, so I hope he's not showing off his product all over the circuit. He's lost the place there to Charles Coppock. That's 6th position gone. Class A in the Jags being led by Simon Dunford further back. There is our pre-83 leader we saw briefly there, David Howard. So we could have a double Jag victory in this race, in both of the divisions. Towards Beckett's, keeping an eye on Michael Seaborn there, whether he is having problems with oil. There's Rick Walker coming through behind that very green XJS, and he's being caught by David Howard, the pre-83 touring cars leader. You can tell by the Shell Oil Sunstrip, but he's not in the Jaguar Championship. He is a pre-83 touring car racer in his XJ12, in the livery of the old Works Jags of the early 80s. Bit of a lock-up there, though. Does tend to struggle with its brakes, this car. See the old British Leyland livery. Has appeared on the broad-speed tuned XJ coupes of the early 80s, which were fast but very fragile. Still see those in historic races very occasionally. Coppocks fighting it out amongst themselves now, along with Michael Holt in the number 11 there. He went out in the first race with engine trouble. He's fought his way up the order. Front Robinson still 2 seconds ahead of Ram for the race lead. These battles continue for the minor placings in the Jags. There is number 78 Mike Luck. He's got ahead of Mark Lucock now. That's the battle for 3rd in pre-83, because Simon Jeffs in the Golf is ahead of them. There he is, the Mark 1 Golf GTI. Very well suited, as we heard earlier, to the Silverstone circuit. There's Stephen Primet. He's had a quiet weekend by his usual standards. Normally fighting at the sharp end of the pre-83s. Here comes David Howard. Let's size up Rick Walker's XJS, he says. Well, he's not just sizing him up, he's going to go past him as they come into Stowe Corner. No problem. Beautiful XJ12. It's clear of his pre-83 opposition. '54, the Rick Walker car in the green of Jaguar's Formula 1 team from the early 2000s there. There's the fight ahead of them. Here are the leaders, lapping Ray Kirschberg in the Metro. James Ram just cannot close the gap to Tom Robinson. He's trying his hardest. He did close by a couple of tenths on that last lap to Tom Robinson. The closing stages now, 2 minutes to go. Good to see Colin Claxton is back out there, the Triumph Dolomite, after that contact off the start line in the first race. Leaders now lapping Mark Bevington's Toyota Celica, which is several laps down, unfortunately. And yes, the gap did come down considerably that time. In fact, Ram has taken nearly a second out of Robinson there. Is Robinson suffering with a slight problem here? You can see it's come down. 0.8 of a second now the gap. Ram did his personal best last time through with a 1:17.9. And he's right on his tail now. I think Tom Robinson might be developing a problem here. Here they come. And oh, they nearly clipped a back marker there. This is Ram's opportunity. And he's going to go through. They nearly clipped Simon Lewis there in the Series 1 Jaguar. But no, Robinson again gets his foot down. Maybe his tyres are going off and he's not as strong in the turns. Because Ram is right with him there in the number 1. I think they'll get one more lap out of this. We'll wait and see if after the confusion of the mini race earlier. Can Tom Robinson hold on? It's a bit like the Mini 7 race between Joe Thompson and Jeff Smith. The number 4 understeering wide, I think his tyres are going off. Last lap board is out. Just over 30 seconds on the clock as they cross the line. Can James Ram fight his way through? David Howard is up into 8th place overall. Looks like he's going to win the pre-83 touring cars. Here they come then. We're on the last lap now. Can Tom Robinson hang on in the number 4? James Ram has a look. He won't get through there at Beckett's. He might be able to slipstream him on the hanger straight, but Tom Robinson will more likely just put his foot down. That's XJR, more powerful than the XJS, it would seem. Here they come. Down to Stowe for the last time. Is Ram going to get close enough? No, he's not. We saw the last bend lunges from the minis. I don't think you can do the same as that in a huge Jaguar, but James Ram might try it. Coming up towards the left-hander at Vale for the final time. Robinson just needs to keep a cool head from here, and it'll be a double win for the Swallows Motorsports car. Round the final corner, the checkered flag will be awaiting them, and it is a double for Tom Robinson. James Ram nearly rammed the back of him as they cross the line there. Very close indeed. 0.3 of a second in it at the line. Tom Robinson takes the double. Long way clear of their opposition. And in the pre-83 Classic Touring Car split, it will be another Jaguar victory. Perfect race for Jags. David Howard is going to take their victory. Tom Lenthal comes in 3rd overall, nearly 30 seconds down on these two. Lawrence and Charles Coppock 4th and 5th, Michael Holt 6th, Michael Seaborn 7th, and David Howard gets 8th overall, wins the pre-83 split. Rick Walker is 9th. Simon Jeffs in the Golf 10th and 2nd of the pre-83s, he wins Class C. Mike Luck is 11th, Mark Lucock 12th, Stephen Primmett 13th, Tom Burgess in the Fiesta 14th, and Mark Osborne 15th. A little bit of damage there on the back of Mike Luck's BMW. Been a bit of argy-bargy in the pack. So the cars head back into the pit area, and here's a replay further back in the order at the line. Now, are we going to see what happened to Mike Luck? Oh, he was caught out there. Simon Jeff slowed after that. So that's what happened to Mike Luck. Simon Jeff suddenly slowed after the checkered flag, and Luck threw it sideways to avoid him and hit the pit wall. What was that all about? Mike Luck won't be too happy about that one, I don't think. See the damage there as the car heads into the pit lane on the right rear corner of the car.